Welcome everyone. Good to be back. Yeah, it feels nice just to take a moment together. You know, it's like as soon as I turn on the camera, it's so funny, it's just this sort of peace just came over me. And it's felt like a very deep week. As I've been saying, it feels like so much has been happening for all of us. There's just so much going on. Feels like we're all going for a big shift. Somehow it's a deepening. That's what it just feels like to me. It's like there's no room for the ego any longer, and that can feel uncomfortable. Letting go of the past. Letting go of this identity. And you know what I was actually thinking about before turning on live is the importance of remembering what it's all about. Because when I'm going through healing or whatever, it can sort of deter you. You can feel like there's going to be no end to whatever's happening. And it can be very quick, lesson after lesson. So it can feel quite intense. Lots of feelings coming up, emotions, thoughts that are uncomfortable. And of course, we're just learning really to just sit with them. There's nothing really we actually need to do with any of this stuff. We just have to sit with it and just see it for what it is and allow the Holy Spirit to work in us to retranslate whatever we think that we're perceiving through our distorted lens. And so that can be very disorientating because it's like we're just wrong about everything and we want to be right about everything. And the more and more we go along, the more and more we see that we're wrong. And the ego hates that. And so, you know, there's just so much resistance to remembering. And so for me, it felt like today is another remembrance. And you know, you might be going through something now, something might have just cleared from your mind, or you might be in that beautiful space right now. And all of that is absolutely perfect. That's exactly what needs to happen. And so for me, it's always about coming back and remembering what this is all about. And really it's to remember that you are the light. And that's what came to me this morning, the light within. It's like when we focus on that, nothing can really get in our way. And the lessons that have been coming to me very strongly are that, it's a pure choice, really. The light is a complete choice. There was a few words. It was really funny. There was a few words that came to me about choices this morning, and there were 3 words that came to me, and I thought, wow, these are interesting. And the 3 words were miracles, paradise, and light. And I thought, yeah, there you go, that's it. Join me in paradise. Apparently that was Jesus' last words. Today I join you in paradise. Where we've always been. And so this is all a complete choice. The light is a complete choice. The miracle is a choice. And so is all the rest of the stuff. And the ego patterns, that's a choice. That's a complete and utter choice. And so when you see it for what it is, the Course in Miracles is really teaching us is just to be very, very firm with your mind. And as the further along we go in this, the stronger our mind gets, because the ego just becomes intolerable in our mind. And so we have to remember what it's truly all about. And so really it's about, I'm in paradise, I'm in the miracle, I am in the light. That's what the whole thing's all about. That's what really sort of brought us to this experience. And it's like I was thinking about light before I turned on, and it was like I was thinking about when you go to churches or cathedrals and you see all the pictures around, and often they have the sort of crucifixion, don't they, when you walk around, particularly if it's a Catholic church. And each scene, it takes you around to finally Jesus being crucified and finally the resurrection. And some have all different ones. But what you'll see is, I can't remember being in a church where I haven't seen one, but you'll often see someone and they have the halo of the light, don't they, around them, in the pictures in the windows. And I thought, yeah, that's the interesting part. It's like, oh, what's that then? There's this glow around Jesus or one of the disciples, Paul or whoever. And that's the kind of interesting part. That's the unseeable. That's the truth. And that's the exciting part about this journey. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, for me, is like when I first got the Course in Miracles, I was very, very uncomfortable with the language, even though I knew that it was for me. But when he started talking about light, I thought, okay, I can relate to that. I can relate to that as a symbol more. Somehow I've believed that, there's something deeper inside of me that's telling me that there is this light. And it is the truth. And of course that can be hard to see when we're in the world, which is complete darkness, That's what the world's for. The world's for to share its darkness with you. And we're here to transcend that together. So why we come together is to install that hope. And that's what I'm doing. I'm installing that hope in my heart. That's why I'm doing this. Just to be able to remember that over and over again, that it is a decision. Because I was just remembering through the lessons in A Course in Miracles, and there's some lessons where you repeat the lesson, and then he says to us, think of sentences that are related to this theme that we're exploring now. So you can start to really take on the teachings in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. And the reason why he's doing that is because it's so easy to fall back into our old pattern of being, of seemingly being a body, seemingly having an identity, seemingly having a past, seemingly having a future. And all of these mishaps that are in between, it's very, very easy to side with that and think it's all about healing. And of course, yeah, it is about healing, but it's actually the whole journey isn't all about that. The ego may want you to believe that it's going to be for the rest of your life healing, but really, that's not really what we're into. Time is going to be used for healing until that is over. And time is over and healing will be over. And so that's the beauty of it. This is about relinquishment of everything. This is about true joy. You know, it's like the Holy Spirit's lesson for us. There's really only one lesson, and that is that you are joy and you are joyful. And when we completely and utterly align with the Holy Spirit, the only experience that we can have is joy, because we do not see any separation with anything. It is all just our mind appearing as joyful. And even there is actually a place in A Course in Miracles where Jesus tells us that the truth is joy. I can't remember where it is, so I can't. But that really just blew my mind apart. It's like, really, it is really about that joy. There's a joy underneath everything. It's like this whole world is covering up this beautiful joy that is within you, that light that is within you. And so really that's what we want to experience, and that's why I'm talking about it, to like confirm that in my mind, because that's what I've been seeing. It's like I can drift off into, okay, this isn't right, maybe about myself, maybe about the world, maybe about others. And it's like, but hold on a minute. I am focusing on the error in myself when I could be focusing on the light. I could be sitting here in my meditation and focusing on the light within, and cultivating this joy within, and wanting to contact the Holy Spirit within. And he says, you know, that, for example, like when you're meditating, when you're wanting to experience the love of God, that see it as that this is the most important thing to you. So right now we are in that. We're in a meditation. Our whole life can be a pure meditation. And so right now the most important thing is that we join in the light above everything else. We want to see our holiness, that we are perfect, whole and complete. And that must be the most important thing to us. To be taken very seriously as a prayer in our heart. Because as he teaches, you know, the mind just wants to wander all the time. And it's like, well, if my mind's going to wander, why not use my mind to wander into the light? Why not allow my mind to wander into the miracle? Why not allow my mind to wander along with my guide, my inner guide? And forget all this other nonsense. And become above the battleground and want that for real in this God-given moment. To allow his strength in. There is nothing more important than this. You know, and particularly at this time, this seeming time that we're going through a lot of healing, everyone from the messages that you've sent me, very, very deep stuff. You know, I feel so, so grateful for the depth that you're sharing, like all of your dark thoughts. And it's just wonderful that you just don't want to be a prisoner of that. And so in doing that, that is really amazing. And the ego hates it. And so he wants to tag along for the ride and make this as uncomfortable as it possibly can be to deter us from the truth. And so that's why these meetings, these joinings are to firm up our true desire. To desire that light above everything else, because that's what's going to dispel all this ego darkness. It's just a pure decision. You know, we're at the road, aren't we? We're at the road together. This road leads to darkness. This road leads to the light. That's the only real choice that we have. And that mind wandering with the ego into pointlessness is death. And as he says, guilt is hell. And that's the ego's trick, to keep us locked in guilt, to keep us locked in misery. And as I said, you know, the Holy Spirit's lesson is joy. And so really this is about worthiness, because that's really what it boils down to when we're doing our lessons and everything like that, and we're taking in the teachings, and it's like really and truthfully the only thing that happens is that we don't feel worthy enough to be able to take this on. You know, just for example, you know, a lesson, my holiness blesses the world. And the ego says, how arrogant. Who the hell do you think you are? How holy do you think you are to bless the world? You're nothing special. And so that's this great wall of unworthiness. We think that it's great, but it's not. It's completely unimportant. And so these words, like holiness, are very alien to us. And the ego says that's arrogance, that's pride, to believe in these things. You're worthless. We both know you're worthless. Now stay with me. And of course, holiness is just that pure oneness. The joining with everything. That nothing is outside of your mind. So for example, right here and now, I am not outside of your mind, because I am your mind. Everything is your mind. Everything is only mind. And in seeing everything as mind, it becomes holy. It's just abstract holiness, appearing and appearing and appearing, wanting to grace us in any given moment. And so this is what we have together now. This holy instant. This holy moment. That we can drop the mask and allow our holiness in. And through that holiness is where all the light is. So it's like it's time to accept our gifts. It's time to accept the true gift. Because we really do have a choice. We can actually say no to the ego today, in this very moment. This isn't about time. This isn't about process. This is about here and now. And we're choosing as much as the truth as possible in this given moment. And we can choose the whole thing if we wish. It's available. And that's what keeps me going. It's just an instant. You're just one thought away from everything. That this peace is always here, always available. And it never stops giving to you. So yeah, that's what I want. And that's what I join with you in. So I thought maybe, I know most of these sort of sessions end up being very meditative. But I'd like to read a lesson to you so you can sit back and really enjoy this. And I'd like to really cement these teachings in my mind and take them forth. And this is the first lesson where he mentions light. And it's lesson 44. God is the light in which I see. So if you feel to, you can just close your eyes and just go within. If that feels comfortable. And these are very, very important words that we're going to be shared with you about the process of emptying your mind and finding that light within. There's some important things to tell you in this. God is the light in which I see. God is the light in which I see. Today we are continuing the idea for yesterday, adding another dimension to it. You cannot see in darkness, and you cannot make light. You can make darkness and then think you see in it, but light reflects life and is therefore an aspect of creation. Creation and darkness cannot coexist, but light and life must go together, being but different aspects of creation. In order to see, you must recognize that light is within, not without. You do not see outside yourself, nor is the equipment for seeing outside you. An essential part of this equipment is the light that makes seeing possible. It is with you always, making vision possible in every circumstance. Today we are going to attempt to reach that light. For this purpose, we will use a form of experience, exercise, which has been suggested before and which we will utilize increasingly. It is a particularly difficult form for the undisciplined mind and represents a major goal of mind training. It requires precisely what the untrained mind lacks. Yet this training must be accomplished if you are to see. The form of practice we will use today is the most natural and easy one in the world for the trained mind, just as it seems to be the most unnatural and difficult for the untrained mind. Your mind is no longer wholly untrained. You are quite ready to learn the form of exercise we will use today, but you may find that you will encounter strong resistance. The reason is very simple. While you practice in this way, you leave behind everything that you now believe and all the thoughts that you have made up. Properly speaking, this is the release from hell. Yet perceived through the ego's eyes, it is loss of identity and a descent into hell. If you can stand aside from the ego by ever so little, you will have no difficulty in recognizing that its opposition and its fears are meaningless. You might find it helpful to remind yourself from time to time that to reach light is to escape from darkness, whatever you may believe to be the contrary. God is the light in which you see. You are attempting to reach him. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. Sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past them. Your mind cannot be stopped in this unless you choose to stop it. It is merely taking its natural course. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly by them. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. While no particular approach is advocated for this form of exercise, what is needful is a sense of the importance of what you are doing, its inestimable value to you, and an awareness that you are attempting something very holy. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. Salvation is your happiest accomplishment. It is also the only one that has any meaning, because it is the only one that has any real use to you at all. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. If you are doing the exercise correctly, you should experience some sense of relaxation and even a feeling that you are approaching, if not actually entering, into light. Try to think of light, formless and without limit, as you pass by the thoughts of this world. And do not forget that they cannot hold you to the world unless you give them the power to do so. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. God is the light in which you see. Going deeper within, deeper and deeper within. Deeper and deeper within.